Hello and welcome to today's webinar. On behalf of the California Healthcare Foundation, I want to welcome you to this Opioid Safety Coalition's Network Communications webinar on familiarizing yourself with the Livestories platform. Today's speakers are Pam Carlson, a data analyst with Livestories, along with Andy Krekov, Vice President for Partnerships and Strategy at Livestories. I am Elizabeth Galicia. I'm Vice President at IE Communications. I'm also the Communications Liaison for the Opioid Safety Coalition's Network and have spoken with many of you and look forward to working with you on this tool as well as other communication strategies. A bit of housekeeping before I turn it over to the Livestories team. All attendees are muted for the duration of the presentation. This session will be recorded and we will post it within the week on the CHCF Safety Coalition's Network website, and you can see the URL there. Even though you're muted, we definitely would like participation and want to answer your questions as it pertains to using Livestories and getting the most out of it. So to ask a question, if it's a logistical question that you can't hear the webinar or you can't, something's happening actually with the logistics of the webinar, please use the chat function in your control panel to the host, and we can help you that way. If you have a question for the speakers, use chat to all. You can choose the all from the drop-down box. And then at the end of the webinar, we have a survey that we'd love to hear from you. Give your feedback, and so we can plan our future webinars and make sure you get the most out of them. And with that, with that, I'll turn it over to Andy, who will take us away. Andy?
Good, great. Thank you so much, Liz. Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? I hope so. So let me give a brief introduction of what Livestories is. And also I'm going to share with you what we're going to be doing today during today's session. Pam is going to be doing the training, but I just wanted to provide you a quick overview. So first, what Livestories is. I actually became acquainted with Livestories when I was at the California Healthcare Foundation. I was a staff person there, a program officer, and had funded Livestories to help health departments in California better communicate their data. Livestories offers, in essence, a platform that makes it easy to do such data storytelling. I'm now at Livestories, and while I was at the foundation, Kelly, who of course a lot of you know, came to me and said it would be great to offer this technology for the purposes of our coalitions, and thought that was a great idea, and that's in essence where we are now. We're at this kickoff point. So let me explain to you, sort of give you a high-level view of what we're going to be doing over, in essence, the next year on the Livestories platform, and what we're specifically going to be doing today and over the next 2 weeks. So over the next year, our hope is that you can use this platform to create data visualizations, to create dashboards, to create stories, all of which hopefully are going to help explain the situation and the issues that are going on locally with what you see. That's the intent of providing you access to this platform, so that you can use data to effectively tell a story that can help raise awareness of issues, that can help inform local policy making, that can empower the community. That's what we're hoping you can do. And to that end, we have created teams for each coalition. Some of you probably already have gotten emails to become members of those teams, and there's one for each coalition. We basically have added the leads in each coalition as team members, and we will show you how they can then additionally add members to the team, to their team, and we're going to review that with you quickly today. In addition to creating the team, we have added data sets to each of the teams. And these are data sets, in essence, that come from the foundation. These are the prescription data. These are the data from CDPH on deaths and emergency department visits. So you have those accessible to you right now. And we're soon actually going to provide a template, basically a data template, a story template for each team, so that you can have a working story that you can then modify and customize as you see fit. That'll probably be coming in the coming weeks. Now you can create your own stories, you can create your own dashboards, but we also want to provide you with some initial content that you can use and roll up your sleeves with. But here's the thing, before you dive into your own work, or maybe as you dive into your own work, we thought that you might like to be able to practice, in essence, based on the training that we're going to provide today. So what we're doing is we're going to put a practice, we've already sort of prepared a practice story. We're going to have a shared account for this initiative, and we're going to invite you, all of you that are on the call, to basically join that account. And I'll be doing this probably tomorrow after the meeting. Invite everyone to be a member of the account. And that's where you'll be able to practice. And Pam is going to be going over the practice story and show you how to make use of it. The idea basically is that each of you can sort of copy that story, the practice story that we have in there, and then you can tweak it. You can sort of make sure it fits your own needs based on sort of the training that we're going to provide today. Our hope is that you perhaps can do this by our next webinar in 2 weeks, and just do a few things on that practice story. For example, you can tweak charts. You're going to see that this story we're going to share already has data from Monterey County in there. We're going to show you how you can change that so you can add data for your county or counties, depending on the coalition. We're going to show you how you can, and where you can add a quote. We're going to show you how you can add in other local sections to help sort of color the story. This just provides the data. It would be great if you also could provide a local photograph, for example, that explains the situation, or a story, personal vignette, those kinds of things. And we're going to show you how you can add sections to do that. So that's what we're hoping you'll do over the next couple of weeks. You also can, in addition, add new charts. We have a gallery of charts that we've already created, and you can go in there and you can add and customize those charts and put them in this copy of the practice story. And it's interesting because how you tweak and what you add is also going to be really good intelligence for us as we build out this template that we want to make available to you that's going to be based on this practice story. Knowing how you add stuff and what you add is actually going to be really beneficial for us to know what kind of content you want to put into this, into a well-designed, templated story that we'll be providing. So as I say, we'll send you an invite after the webinar, likely tomorrow, to join the team where you can do this practice. You already have, or some of you already have an invite for your permanent team. And then I want to emphasize too, we're going to provide you at the end our contact information, but Pam and I are always around. If you have questions, if you encounter difficulties, and of course during the webinar, just let us know if you have questions. But after the webinar, you're welcome to reach out to us, and we'll try and help you out. I think that covers it. Before I turn it over to Pam, Liz, I just thought I'd see if there are any questions for me about the broad level view before I turn it over to Pam. Any questions from folks?
Nothing as of yet, so I think we can dive in.
Cool. All righty. Pam, I'll let you take it from here.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am a data analyst at Livestories, and my job is uploading and organizing all this data and also explaining to people how to use Livestories. So it's a lot of fun, actually. They're a great group of people to work with, and we love working with the clients, or our partners, actually, in government, to see how they can help people better. So that's what our tool is all about. Hopefully you all got emails. I invited everyone on Andy's list to various teams yesterday. You should have gotten an email. If you click on the email, it will take you to Livestories with a login, and you can set a password for yourself. If you didn't, go ahead and email me in at the email address that you saw at the beginning of this presentation, and I can add you to the team. Also mention what team you want to be added to. Let's see. So when you first log in, you will go to Home. Up here, this is our Livestories interface. The first thing, this is our navigation bar, and there's Home, Stories, Dashboards, Charts, and Data Sets. Home basically shows you all your dashboards and some charts, and whatever stories you have. Story shows you your stories. Dashboard shows you your dashboards. They all look the same, even though they have different content. Charts. Livestories is a tool that looks at the data sets in your data section and just starts generating charts from it. We have some algorithms that look at the columns in the charts, figure out the data type that is probably in those columns, and start charting it. It's really a tool to help people who don't know a whole lot about data analysis analyze data and build charts and stories. We're slowly adding in, well, rapidly now, adding in more content to be able to really tweak and customize your charts if you do know a lot about data and want to present things just so. So we're trying to provide support for both levels of users, for the user who isn't very data savvy and for the user who is. There's a broad range of people that we want to be able to help. So this is all the charts that I've made on this account so far, and a lot of it are charts that the program thinks should be made. And the heart of the matter is the data sets here. And these are 8 data sets I've uploaded. This is a sample file that's kind of fun to play with. Other things on the interface that you should know. The 3 little dots over here, this is the Livestories version for menus. And so right now I'm explaining all the things on the interface. This is our menu. And you click on it. It shows you information about your account, basically who you are, what your password is, things like that. Team shows you all the people on your team. You can see the name of your team. This is the main team here, the CHCF home team. Oops. Oh dear. There it is. CHCF home team, and you can see the members of the team here. If the member is highlighted, that means they've logged in. These 2 users are members of the team, but they haven't logged in yet. Other things you can see on the team, you can change the name very easily if you want. You simply select up here and type, and you hit save name, and it will save it. The add teammate. Say there's someone else on your team that you want to add. If you're a manager on your team, a data manager, you can add them. You simply click add teammate, type in their email address, decide whether you want them to be a storyteller or a manager, and click add members. The difference between a storyteller and a manager can upload data and invite other people. And they can also make stories. A storyteller can only make stories. So that's a good position for someone who's like maybe an intern, someone you don't want to be able to modify your data at all, or play with your person settings. But if it's someone that you feel comfortable with modifying the data, inviting other people, make them a manager. So that's your team there. Go back. Some of you are on multiple teams, and if you are, this change team button is important. You select change team, and you start typing the name of the team, and you'll see I have several San Bernardino teams pop up, and you can select them. Cancel that.
Pam, this is Liz jumping in with a question.
Yes.
How many people, is there a limit to the number of people who could be members of a team?
No, there's not. No. I asked that question just the other day for a product manager, and right now there's no limit.
Okay. And they
one of the most
full access to the tools.
Yeah. One of the most important things you'll find is the help button. If you go there, it takes you to our help section, and here we have articles, FAQs, and a blog. The articles are very good. They answer basic questions you might have, like how to clean your data in Excel before you upload it, how to save things as a CSV, how to prepare your data set, dashboards, stories, things like that. So if you're having trouble, read through our help articles. They're not very long, and they have nice pictures. And they might answer a lot of your questions. And I'm navigating through this just using the back button, though the help section opens its own new window. So here we are back at the team. And to get back to our data set, we use the Go Back button up here. And it takes you back to your main navigation bar. Go back to data sets. The other way to get help is down here with the support button. And if you click on it, a box will pop up, and you can just start typing a question like how to organize data. And it will suggest several of the articles that we have on those topics, so you can just select them that way. Or you can click leave a message, and it will bring you to your email, and you can send an email to one of us. I believe it sends it to support@Livestories, which comes to me. And there's also Zendesk, which is our live chat feature. If you select that, it will take you to Zendesk, and hopefully one of us will be on chat. Though if we're in a training or something, we're not on chat. So Anyway, so that's the support button. And you can also just email us too at our regular email address. Any questions so far? Well, type them in if you have them. So this is our data set list, and we'll go really quickly into uploading data. All data sets uploaded into Livestories have to be in a CSV form. Basically, they're flat file spreadsheet files. So once you save your Excel file as a CSV, a comma separated value folder or file, then you upload it. This little red floaty button over here has lots of functionality. If you click on it, you can create a new story, create a new dashboard, create a new chart, or upload a data set. And if you select upload a data set, you can do it from either a Google Sheet or a CSV. And if you click CSV, it takes you to the browser in your computer. This is my computer, and this is the last folder I was at. And here are the worksheets that these are all CSVs. Here are the CSVs that I created. And if this file are all the files I just uploaded into your set. So you could just select them all, hit open, and it will upload them. So it's that easy. That's how you upload a data set. Once a data set is uploaded, these little circles here, if it's locked, that means that it can't be seen by anyone outside your account. You can share data sets if you want, but if you click this lock on it, they can't see it. If you click it and make it global, then people can view your data set. This is because some of our partners use the portal for a way to make data accessible to the public. The new Open Data Initiative that the president put through a couple years ago mandated that governments make public data available to the public. And this is one way to do it, is to put it on a website and allow people to come and see it. And this is one way you can do it. This little I button, this is important. This little information button shows you information about your file. And this is the metadata for this file. I haven't filled this one out, but I'll show you another one where I have. It also shows you the structure of the data set. So here you can see the column names, and here you can see the data in those columns. This is really handy for seeing that your data uploaded correctly. It's also handy for seeing what data looks like. If you select this little red button, you can download it. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you, if you go down, it shows you the first 50 rows. There's 1,000 rows in this data set. It only shows you the first 50. If you click the little red button, it downloads it. So now this is in my downloads folder on my computer. So it's a really handy way to share data and make data accessible to people. If this is a public file, people with access to the file can download it. Let me show you some metadata. So this is information about the files that I've uploaded and put in. The way to fill these out is basically by cutting and pasting. So I had all this text in an Excel file, and I simply copied the cell and pasted it here. This is a description of all the data that are in this file. So in the files I downloaded from the CHCF website, it had information on how these values were calculated, and I put all that information up here. It kind of has to go somewhere, and this is where we put it for now. Keywords. All these data are searchable. So the data in these names are searchable, and the keywords are searchable. So I'll get to that in a minute. So these are keywords, and I chose to put these in. And what keywords you choose will be based on how you think people will be searching for your data sets and which data sets you want to pop up when that keyword comes. So you can put your own keywords in. Publisher. Open Data needs to have a publisher, basically who put those data together. That's what this is. And then the source URL. Especially with Open Data, people might want to go back to the original source and read about the details of those data, or maybe find other data that are there too. So this is a quick way for them to get to the source of the data. And then Open Data also suggests a contact name and a contact email. These fields aren't required, but you can put them down if you like. And then once you enter these data, you can hit save, and it saves it. And you can see here's the data for the prescription file. And this little bar moves along all the columns. So that's that. Other things. So once you have your data set, you can explore it, you can update it, or you can delete it. You probably don't want to delete it, but if you have a copy, you can, or if it updated badly, you can. Update data. This is if you make a change to your data set, you can update it. Like say we discovered in this data set that one of our column names is wrong. Say I spelled California wrong and we want to change it. You can't just change it here. This is only a reflection of what's in the database. To change it, you've got to go back to your files on your computer and edit it in Excel and save it as a CSV and then re-upload it. And that's where you would put re-upload. So when you put update data, it takes you to your computer and you would browse through the files. And I believe it's like that one. So you click that, hit open, and it will upload the data or re-update it. When it updates it, it updates the whole file. It won't just fix the change you made, it overwrites the whole file. So say you have another year's worth of data that you want to add. You've got to add it to the file on your computer and then re-upload it. Now, if you don't have these files on your computer, obviously you just download them from here. So you could download the file, modify it, and re-upload it. That's uploading data in a nutshell. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or check out our help section, and that should.
Sam, we did have a
Yes.
question. If you could show how to upload a data set again, just show the buttons.
Sure. Yeah. Well, here we'll delete the Forbes data set. Not that crucial. Delete, and then we'll upload it. So we'll go here. We'll go upload data sets. That little red button. I'll show you again. Little red button. Bottom thing, upload data set, and I choose upload CSV, and you navigate to where your files are. Select the file you want. Notice it's a CSV file, comma separated value file, and select open. And as it uploads, you'll see it uploading there. So it uploaded it very quickly. What it's doing now is indexing the file. It's going through all those columns and marking them, figuring out what data types they are, and making a note of it in the database. So Livestories has some conventions that it uses, and I'll go through this super quickly, for column names. So to set data type, you know, a database or spreadsheets have a data type feature. It uses the column name. And so this column name, year, is a keyword in Livestories, which tells it that this is numeric data that represents years. So our automatic charting system will chart these as years. Since these are just numbers, it looks at these as integers. Other columns that are keywords are state and county. So here we've got county. So it knows this is geographic data because that word county. Because this word is state, it knows this is geographic data. When you have counties, you also have to have a state, so it knows how to chart the counties properly. Some counties, like Butler County, Washington County, there's several states with those counties. And so the program wouldn't know which Washington County we're talking about unless you had a corresponding state over here for it. So those are the three biggest things you have to be aware of when you build a file for keywords in your column names. Other quick things about building a file: it's a computer, so it's a computer reading these files, and so when we look at a spreadsheet, we see things like we tend to read the rows down, the columns over, and find a number in the middle. Computers can't do that. They see a whole row as one observation, and everything in this row is different aspects of that observation. I'll explain that really quickly with a Forbes file. So with our Forbes file, these are billionaires around the world. Every billionaire, so this is one billionaire, and this billionaire has a name, an age, a source of wealth, a ranking, a citizenship, etc. So, and then Carlos has the same thing, and Warren Buffett has the same thing. So the computer will come down and read all this and be able to figure it out. It can't triangulate. So if we expected to come down here and find something and move over and find this piece of data, it can't do that. So when you set up your files, try to keep that in mind. And we have We have many FAQs that talk about that in our help section, and I can go over it with you later if you have questions. But the best way to figure out how to set up a data file is to look at existing ones. So look at the Opioid dashboard, see how I've set it up. And as you have new data, try and set it up in the same way with your indicators across the top, as long as they're different. And then every observation is a row. So that should take you pretty far. Any questions so far? I know it's been pretty dry. Setting up data is the most exciting thing in the world, unless you're a data geek, but like me.
We don't have any. I just want to remind everyone, if they do have a question, to type it into the chat box.
Yep. All right, so charts. Let's pick a file here, and if we go to Explore, this is where Livestories looks at that data set and automatically makes charts from it. And it looks at the data types, which it figures out from the column names, and just starts charting. And this is a cool thing to do. If you've got a data set and you're not really sure what it's going to show you, you can just explore it. And sometimes you discover things. So here it's charted opioid prescription rate across year. See, it knows what a year is. And it looked at that state and county data and figured out it should map it. In Livestories, being a web tool is interactive. So if you hover over this county, it will show you what the opioid prescription rate in Shasta County is. And then for Tuolumne County. So this is the nice thing about putting stories on the web, is that users are able to look at these things live. And it's a lot easier than having a little number in each bucket. It's having a little number confuses people. It confuses the eye, but if you just hover over it, it's a lot cleaner. You can see there's a legend in this chart, which makes it easier to read. So that's the end. We'll do bar charts. So the way the program works, let's look at how to make a chart. So this is our edit chart feature. So now I'm going to talk about editing charts and show you how to edit just the chart you want. We've used the data set up here, and if you click on this drop-down box, it will let you pick any data set in your system. And first you select the columns that you want to chart. And we're going to chart county, prescription opioid rate, just these two things. And based on what you select, if you hit style, it will show you all the different kinds of charts it can make from these two parameters. So we could display this as a bar chart. And it will show you all the counties with the opioid prescription rate. And here's the rate over here on the y-axis. And here are your counties on the x-axis. You can order it with the highest here, the highest there. You can choose the top 5 or the bottom 5 counties. We will put more ways to order the results in the future. Right now we just have these 5. Or you can order it alphabetically. That's the other way. So here you can filter things. Like, say you want to filter by year. Put year. And right now it's selecting all the years because there are 4 years worth of data in this data set. We could say just show it to us for 2011. Apply. And now these are just the 2011 data. So we'll go into more filtering later and more about filtering later. You can see there's the filter up there, 2011 for the year. You can change the name of this file. This isn't too bad a name. Some of them, if you have long file names, get really long. Just click on the little crayon, and then it becomes editable. The source. The source mentions the file that it came from, which is handy for the creator of the graph. It might not be so handy for a user. So you can edit this too, and you can put for example, which might make more sense for your users or your readers on an eventual chart. If we go back to columns, and let's make a chart over time. So we'll graph year, and we'll look at opioid population rate, and we'll look at county. So now it's given us all the counties by year. Let's take our filter off. And one of the things you might want to do with charting is just play around with it. To remove a filter, you select the feature that you want and put remove filter. You can do a stacked bar chart, regular bar chart. Let's remove this. Make this opioid prescription rate. You can do it in lines. One way to remove all these counties, say you wanted to look at just a couple counties. You could go to county, remove all of them, and then you could pick like Modoc, and I'm just picking counties here. And it'll show you just those 2 counties. So
that will be particularly useful, and this is Liz, when we do have a few coalitions that are multi-county.
Oh.
I did have a question come in, Pam, that's
Yes.
stepping back a little in terms of where the finished life story will live. So many coalitions have existing websites. How do you, can they have the life story embedded on their site? Is it a link away? Can you talk about how that, the options for how that works?
Yes, I can do that as soon as we're done making charts. Other charts you can make are heat maps, which, you know, for two counties aren't very helpful. You can do area charts, stacked area charts, non-stacked area charts. So those are your chart types. It will show you chart types based on a number of parameters that you've chosen. So if we take out year, for example, put remove field, we only have 2 features. We could do a pie chart. So again, charting options are kind of endless, and you can play with it and see what you get. Once you've made a chart that you like and you've modified it the way, other things to show you about charting. Style, you can choose options. Let's go back to, well, I'll dismiss this and we'll pick a chart that has some good options. Go to dashboards. This is a dashboard I created, county and state comparisons. So in these series of charts, we're comparing counties to the state. So here we have drug overdose deaths by county versus California statewide. And this line is California statewide, and this line is county. Here it's Monterey County, and I can change this filter, selecting county. We can unselect Monterey, and we can make it Napa County. Options. One of the things that happens when you do that is it will often put one of the parameters. You can see California is over here on the right axis, and prescription deaths for the county is over here on the y-axis. If you wanted to change your axis titles, you can do that right here. So if you wanted to be really clear about it, you could put rate for Napa, for example. And then you can put the values that you want these axes to cover right here. So here's your y-axis. You can put 0 to, let's make it 20. And you can put left axis, 0 to 20. And you can see we've changed the scale of our, we've changed the scale of our chart. I've also inadvertently shown, or checked, show the background. You can choose to add a legend. There's show legend here. That's your legend toggle. You can take the title off, which you generally don't want to do. Sometimes you want to take the source off. Here, so we've removed the source. Other things. Oh, data labels. Data labels is good. Sometimes you want people to see these numbers. That's what the data labels toggle does. And print markers. Say you don't want them to see the little buttons. See these little buttons? You can take those out here. Print markers on, print markers off. Enable publishing or filtering. This chart is filtered by county. Say you wanted to put it in a story and you wanted to be able to have people filter between all the counties. If you click Enable Public Filtering, when you put this in a story later, you'll be able to filter this chart live in the story, and I'll cover that more on the story. Once we like this chart, the only way to save a chart that you created anew is to pin it to a dashboard. And when you pin it, it asks you which dashboard you want to pin it to. And we can see we have several dashboards. You can create a new one if you want. If you hit Create New, you can just start typing the dashboard name. And then we have a new dashboard. Once we've saved it, we can hit Cancel. And if we go back to Dashboards, there's our new dashboard with our chart in it. Now, publishing. Dashboards you can publish, and stories you can publish. So if we go to Dashboards and select our county to state comparisons dashboard, on the dashboard screen, there's a Publish Dashboard button. And how would you like to publish? You can allow search engines to look for this dashboard, which you might or might not want to do. If you're making a dashboard that you want the public to see, some of our counties use a dashboard like this for their crime statistics, like Milwaukee Police Department, for example, uses Livestories to publish a local crime dashboard. And they want people to be able to find it on Google, and so they check this. You can uncheck it if you want to make it just for your internal use. If you want to make it really secure, you can require a passcode, a 4 to 6 digit number that will ensure that only people who have the passcode can see this dashboard. And then we hit Publish. And once you hit Publish, oh, I have to put the passcode in. Put in a super unsafe passcode. It's been published. You can hit View Dashboard. When you hit View Dashboard, up here you get a link. And if you copy this link, you can email it to people, and they'll be able to click on the link and come to your dashboard because it's published. If it's Google searchable, they'll be able to find the dashboard based on the name of the dashboard right up here, County to State Comparisons. You might want to give it a more meaningful name if you publish it to Google. You can embed this in a website by simply putting an Ahref HTML field with this site in it. So that's how you would put a link to this dashboard on your website. Just embed it in your HTML code. And Stories does that automatically for you, and I'll show you how that works. So I guess we should get to Stories. These are dashboards. If you have any questions so far, please email them. And since we've published our dashboard, see it's opened a new tab. Just close this tab and go back to our dashboard in the story. Yes?
Yeah, a couple questions about creating charts. How do you change the scale and colors on the map chart? Or really on any chart?
Yes, colors. Colors is under Option. If you go to Choose Colors, there is a color field. And if you click on the blue color, it brings up a little dongle where you can choose what color you want just by eyeing it. And then if you like that color, you can select OK. See, it's made it this fabulous yellow color. You can also put in the 6-digit hexadecimal code for the color if you know it. So if you have a color scheme that you're using in your story and you've got the 6-digit codes for the maybe 5 colors you want to use, you can just put in the code for the color you want there.
And you can do the same with the map as well?
Yes, same for maps.
And there was another question, if you could insert the dashboard link into a tweet or incorporating those links into social media?
Yes, I think so. Let's go back to settings. So now we're in the dashboard, right? We've published our dashboard. If you go to settings, we can delete our dashboard or edit the name. You know, I guess not. You can do that with a story. Let me double check on that though. Whether or not you can tweet.
This is Andy. I don't know if this helps to answer it, but one option is once the dashboard is published, you'll see the URL for it, and then you could grab that URL and put it in a tweet. I don't know if that helps to answer the question.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we don't have an automatic tweet version. Any story in a dashboard, you can unpin it if you want to delete it. Say you don't want it, it's cluttering up your dashboard, you don't want it, you just unpin it. If you are viewing a dashboard and you want to know what these data are, you can hit View Data, and it takes you to that metadata and to the data behind the dashboard, behind the chart. This is where that open data thing comes in handy, right? So say you're the Milwaukee Police Department and you've got your crime statistics chart, and the average citizen wants those numbers. Maybe they want to make their own chart. Maybe it's a student making a report for school. They can get the data right there. They can view data, download it to their computer, and now a student has raw data from the police department that they can use. So that's one of the cool things about making a dashboard public. But bear in mind, when your dashboard is public, all these data are usable and accessible by your users. So stories. That's right. So the story Andy started, and we'll just use it. If you notice, back to it. We have the main story, and this one says copy of. One of the things you can do with a story is you can clone it. So you click on the menu. You can share it to Facebook right away. You can tweet this whole story, or you can clone it. And that's what he did to get that clone. See, it says copy of Opioid Safety Coalition's report. And we'll just change this to practice. And description. If you publish the story, it becomes searchable on Google. And the description is the text you see once you find it on Google. You know how you search for something on Google, it gives the link and then it talks about what it is? This is where you type that in. So you would say, I don't know, I won't type out a long thing, but you have to type something in here to save it. So we saved it. This is the story that Andy's built. The story has several parts. A menu bar, which is up here. A cover, which is the main picture that you see when you first log in. An intro, and these are sections that Andy's added, and he's changed the names. As you click through the sections, it takes you, this is your navigation panel here, it takes you to the sections. Someone asked how to share a story. Over here, if you put publish, it publishes your story. You can download it as a PDF. You can allow search engines to find it. If you unselect it, search engines won't be able to find it. So say you just want to share a story within your department. If you uncheck that, it will be private. And again, you can even require a passcode on the story, just like on a board. So we'll put.
But you can't embed it within another website. It'll be a standalone URL. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, but you can put that URL on your website and go to it. You can, for a chart, let's go back to charts. I remember now. So we go to charts and pick this fabulous chart. One of your options on a chart is to Facebook share it, tweet it, get a direct link, and it shows you the HTTP link for it. Or you can download it as a PNG. Oh, here's the embed. Sorry. So that gives you the code right there, the HTML code you need to just pop it right in. And you can set a size that you want for your code. For your story, you can click Enable Interaction. And on your website, it will allow people to hover over and see the values in your map. And then there's Download as PNG. So say you have a chart that you want to put in a PDF for a report, or you want to make a flyer. You can download it as a PNG, and it'll ask you what size you want to export it as, and we'll put small, because PNG is going to get rather large. And hit Export Chart, and you can see it just exported it to my Downloads folder. I have this chart on my PC now. So you have a lot of options at the chart level for what you want to do. So it's nice to be able to put just a single chart on your website too. A whole story requires a link, but a chart you can embed. Does that, well, hopefully that answers your question. And this you can tweet, share on Facebook, all kinds of cool things. back to stories. Sorry, practice one. So to add a new section to a story, you select Add Story Section. When you hit Add Story Section, it's kind of like PowerPoint, and that you get a lot of different slides you can choose from. We have well, let's see. The banner is this big one. Banner is great for big charts. See all the way down here. Here's your basic banner. I'll go through these sections. This is the banner. You can see it spans the whole story, which is 1,500 pixels wide. And it's great for showing large maps. See down here, you can see it has the legend that displays nicely. You can move a banner up or down. That makes it kind of small. You can make it big with a little movie bar. Once you create a new section, you want to change the name of it. Otherwise, you won't know what you're talking about. Andy's done a great job. See how he's named all his sections so you know just what they are? And long story, that's very important. And the way you do it is by simply selecting your text. Here, go back to the story. So if you select that, you get the little crayon. And if you select the crayon, it allows you to edit it. I'm hitting delete. There we go. I'm hitting the delete key. Every place in Livestories to deal with text, you simply highlight it and start typing, except here. Here you have to use your delete and backspace keys. So we'll call this practice banner. And click somewhere else, and now we've got our practice banner. To move the practice banner, you click Edit, and you get the little stacked pancakes. This allows you to move things throughout your chart. So now our practice banner is up here in the middle. So if we scroll through our story, going along, and then we get this fabulous practice banner. If we wanted to add something to this banner, simply click on it, and you get your add options. You can create a new chart right from here, and it takes you to your chart building section. And to create a blank chart, again, you choose your, we'll use this one. And we'll do county. And so here's a neat little chart Andy made that shows whether or not a county has a drug treatment program. And so red is having the program, yellow is not. So we'll put pin it to the dashboard, and we'll pin it to red 1. And now we can put add to story. So we scroll down. We can see this has been added to our banner. And if we want to make it larger, and then zoom in on it. Because we're editing it, won't allow us to zoom in. But you see we've just put a big chart in our story. Other sections that you might want to add, tell the story, gives you a little bit of text and stories interspersed, text and charts interspersed. If you see this weird wave pattern here, that means an image goes there. And if you click on it, you can put a new chart like we just did. You can put a chart from an existing dashboard. Click that, it wants to know the dashboard you want. And we'll put, say, county comparisons. And it will show you that dashboard. And then you just scroll through the dashboard, pick the chart you want, and select Add to Story. And it embeds that chart in your story. See, there's the chart. You can make this chart longer, but you can't make it wider. It only goes as far as the module goes. Say we wanted to put a picture up here. We could put an image in. And I'll just use the images that I've got. Story pictures. Oh, these are the tooth decay art. This is an interesting one. I was making a story earlier on dental health, so here we have our dental health picture. So you can put in a picture for color and for visual interest. and then you can have a chart here. This is a text field. To edit the text, it's just like Word or any other text editor. You simply highlight the text and start typing. You can make your text bold, and you can change the font size. You can't change the font itself. Livestories at this point, we have only one font. We'll be adding more Google fonts in the future. Right now we have just a single font. You can change the size. You can make it italics, bold. You can center it, left justify it. You put bullets on it, but you can't change the font. These little arrows back and forth allow you to switch these two boxes. So now we've got our text over here and our story here. Those are other editing things. This allows you to move the picture within your module, which is.
And Pam, while you're moving that, a question about
yes.
navigating the different sections and moving them around. Can you drag and drop them, like drag a photo with a caption up top and see how it looks? How much capacity is there to kind of drag and drop to look at how the layout looks on the page?
A fair amount. Just drag and drop any section that you want. The cover, I believe, has to be first, but other than that, you're free to do what you like with moving the sections where you like them. We do have a preview section, or preview button. If you hit preview, it opens a new window, but it will show you exactly what the story will look like once it's published on the web. So that kind of helps. And when you're in preview mode, the links are hot, or the story is interactable. When you're in edit mode, it's not. But when you're in preview mode, it is. So that's kind of nice. You can see exactly what the public will see or your users will see. And you can see when you have data buttons, it looks at the values behind those numbers. So that's the preview button. And again, it opens a new window. So if you close it, you're back to editing your story. Other things in the story. Settings, again, just tells you the name and the description of the story. Preview, publish. So once you're done with your story, if you select publish, again, you can download it as a PDF. You can allow search engines to see it. You can run a power passcode, all that. Publish. So once you've published it, why did it come as untitled? Let's try that again. I don't know what's doing that. Normally it gives you a big HTML link that you can use to put in a website. You can embed that in a website. Let's see, other story sections. So let's tell the story. Simple text is good. We have one of those at the bottom. At the bottom of Andy's story. About the coalition. This is just a section Andy added at the end where you could talk about the coalition and what it's about. To change we'll put a new section down here. This is a blank section. To change the section title, you simply edit it. Like anything. There is a little section here for links. It's hard to see, but this little word says add link. So if you wanted to make this a hot link, you simply select the text, hit add link, and then put a link that you want that to go to. So that's a nice little way if you want to give credit to someone for a picture or take someone to another website, you can do that. So you could type
maybe, Pam, while you're doing that, a question on credits.
Yes.
You did just mention it. How do you handle source credits for any kind of material you've brought in that you either want to, whether it's a photo credit that could be in a caption, or where those go, or it's a data source.
Excellent question. And I do it just this way. So you could put, here's a link to it's CHCF, isn't it? You simply highlight that and then go to the link you want and highlight it, put link, and you could just copy and paste the link to the CHCF website here and it would be hot. Let's see if we can do that. For a picture, let's say this picture here with the teeth. I have a Word document. Let's go back here to my pictures folder. I made a Word document with links to pictures, and all the pictures I've taken off Flickr, I keep the credits in a Word document. So let's scroll down here. This is the picture here, decayed tooth. This is the person who made it. So Marty Ito. We'll copy that. I'm hitting Control-C. Go back to our story. Down here, and we'll put so this is the person who made the picture. I'll just highlight it, put link, and then I'll just paste that big URL from Flickr in there. And you can see it's now a hot link. And when you publish a story, we'll put preview. If we go down to that section, if I click on Marty Ito, it takes me to this picture. See, I'm on Flickr. I got this picture off Flickr, and I downloaded the picture and put it on my computer. And then I copied this URL here and put it in Word. So when I embed the URL in the story, it takes you right to the website where the person has the story. And what I do on Flickr is I go to flickr.com, and we have these links on our FAQs, but I can also send them to you on email. These are great depositories for pictures that we like to use in Livestories.
And how about footnotes? Can you add footnotes for sourcing data or text?
I'll show you how to do that in a sec. So Flickr is nice and searchable, so you could just put in a topic you want to search for, and it'll bring up lots of pictures. It brings you up all licenses, and so you want to click Creative Commons licenses. As you probably know, Creative Commons is a license that you can use as long as you're not planning to make money from it in a short sense. So if you're a government entity or a school or just someone making a flyer for informational purposes, you can use all these photos. It's a pretty dry topic there, but once you find a photo you like, you can download it, copy the URL, and you're good to go. But just make sure you use a Creative Commons license. This is the editing, sorry. Footnotes. The best way to do footnotes for a chart is, so you've got this chart here, and if you add a module to it, to a section, adding a module to a section gives you another piece of that, sub-piece of that module in your section. So this is a tell the story, and it's got the picture, text, picture, text. So what we can do is use this text and make it a footnote for this picture. So we can make the text pretty small, and we'll put what figure 3? Shows whatever you want to say. So, oh dear. Whatever you'd like to say, and then you can make the text italicized and small. And then you could write justify it or put it in the middle, and it would appear underneath this picture. You might want to bold it. But for now, that's the way we use we get around making chart figures. And this you can delete, I believe. Not. You might want to, instead of using another module, you might want to use just a plain text and put that down there. At the end of the story, you could simply add another title section, a simple text section, and put your footnotes there for the story.
And can you add anchor tags where you're dropping people down with a hot link that basically takes people to the bottom of the live story? I'm thinking that as we create questions and answers that have to do with some of the opioid data set, it might be useful that if someone's looking at a chart up top and then we have a link to some questions and some more information, can you drop people down, like add anchor tags within Livestories, or would it have to be a separate document?
Not yet. Yeah, it would have to be a separate document and take you out on the web. But that's a really good suggestion, and I will put that on our list of things for our developers to look into, because we're always adding features, and features that our customers want get priority for being added. So I will mention anchor tags. That would be really good for a large story. Other sections we've seen, image banner side by side is great for adding just two pictures to compare. And when you have the side by side, some of them give you options to write a descriptive caption, so you can put a little caption on your photo. I don't believe it works for charts. Let's see. Yeah, we don't have the write a descriptive caption goes away for a chart. But if we were to put a picture here, image, and put the toothbrushes in, where'd it go? Maybe not. Oh, we got rid of that though. I've had that work before. Maybe we have a bug. Let me write that down. All right. So here you could just have one chart if you wanted. Other sections. Universal filter. There's 3 columns, which is 3 columns side by side. And as you go through, it's a lot like PowerPoint. As you go through, you can figure out what kind of sections you want to add. If you want to delete a section, simply go to the section and hit the little trash can, and it goes away. So you can get, let's see, let's do the story. Delete this one. Try and clean Andy's story up a little bit. The universal filter. Oh, here's the quote. Andy talked about maybe putting a little quote from your county, and you simply type whatever text in. It's quote because it gives you the format of the person, and it's in italics. The filter. Let's go to... yes?
Quick question is if there's an undo button, if you want to take a step back when you're building your story.
No, not yet. You have to manually undo what you did. So let's.
And then there was also a question on the map chart. There was a series of zeros in the legend, and we had a question come in of what that was all about, or if you could look at the legend on the map.
This guy. I think it's because if we edit the chart doesn't have a very big range. The program assigns the values in the legend according to the range of the numbers in the data set. And our numbers are only from 0 to 1, except the algorithm says look for 6 partitions and assign the values according to those 6 partitions. So here it doesn't make sense. So the best thing to do would be to remove this legend. So, but if you had
Or
numbers, yes?
is it possible to show the legend by a tenth or a hundredth, like to break it down further than a whole number? Tenths or hundredths, you know?
I don't think so. One of the things we want to add is the ability to set bins on these, particularly if you're showing numbers and you're trying to compare counties like Los Angeles County with a county with a very small population. What you get is Los Angeles County will be one color, and most of the other counties in the state will be all the other color, because this is, many factors larger than all the other populations, and you don't get any worthwhile data out of it. So we want to add a logarithmic way to cut up your bins, or one where you can simply assign what ranges you want for which color.
I think that would also be taken care of if we're talking about rates per 1,000 people. Or
yes, rates are much better to compare on a map. Comparing numbers on the map is problematic anyway, but anyway. So that's what, to answer your question though, and if we save this, go back to our story, you can see that legend is gone in the story. So, but that's why it was doing it. It's because it was trying to automatically cut two numbers up into 6 bins. So, oh, right, universal filter. So here we have our chart that looks at, is filtered from Monterey County. Let's put a universal filter in. So we'll add the story section, universal filter. And we want to put it above the side-by-side, right? Yeah. And we'll title the section Filter by County. And we'll change the filter, and we'll put county. So what it's doing is it's looking at this chart, and it's saying what filterable fields are in that chart. And that's why it presented me with those options when I put change the, oh, I have to save it. And it always pops you back up to the top of the story. So now we'll filter by county. So if this chart, let's double check. We go to our options. See how it says ignore universal filter in the options? We want to uncheck that. So now this chart will pay attention to this filter. So right now it's filtered by Monterey. If we go and filter it for Contra Costa, and now shows us these values for Contra Costa.
Can you explain one more time what the universal filter means, and if you didn't unclick that box, what you would get?
All right. Universal filter, basically all the charts below the universal filter follow what the filter says to do. And so because this chart has county fields in it, when we put in the universal filter and put change filter, it gives us the options. It looks at this chart and says, all right, well, what do you want to filter on? And so we chose county. So this chart now will filter by county. But what we had to do was make sure, so here we have our chart, this which is California versus a county for opioid prescription rate. And see, we've got a filter on here that says county. We filtered by county on this chart anyway. So it's a feature we can use. It's a filter we can use on this chart. If we go to options, one of the options we have is ignore universal filters. And because we want this chart to obey the filter, we make sure this is unplugged or unchecked. If we didn't want it to obey the filter, we'd check it and hit save. So now when we go and put filter by county, pick a different county, it doesn't follow, right? But if we had a chart next to here that did obey the filter, one chart would change and the other chart wouldn't. And that's why we have the option to obey the filter or not. See what I mean? So you can really fine-tune how you want things in your story to appear while still having your story be interactive. So one of the ways to make it interactive is by putting a filter up here. And California, I don't know what that will do. It's nothing because the filter is checked. Filter is blocked because we put uncheck it. We unchecked it. Let's go back and edit that. So now we'll obey the filters. Let's select California and see what it does. Yeah, it's looking at that line. So that's, which is the same for all the counties. So that's how the universal filter works. It's a little confusing, but when you play with it, it'll make sense. Say we want to change this to year. Let's see what it does. Filter by year. And, oh, let's pick 2013. Oh, and it's just looking at one number because we only have one value for 2013. Remember how I said on styles, it will show you the chart that is most valid for your data? Well, if we're only looking at 1 year, there's only one number, and only one number, you get a tile. Right? Style is a tile or donut chart. So that's why it took it back to a year. And if we go back. So filtering that chart on year wouldn't make much sense. It's really, that chart is designed to be filtered by county. So I hope that makes sense. Go back. Oh. So that's universal filter. We've covered publishing the story, previewing the story, moving things around. How much more time do we have, and do we have any questions?
We have about 20 more minutes.
Okay.
And there's a question.
This is Andy. Can I just add in really quickly? That we gave you like tons of, as you can see, there's just so many wonderful things you can do in the product. One of the things we're hoping you'll do is just to take this story, to clone it, as we say. You'll see where the option is to do that, and do some simple things to start. You know, add in a new chart that you think is important to you and to your work. Perhaps you can add in a photo or change the quote. You know, we'll start with some of those simple building blocks. And if you want to get into things like universal filters, absolutely. But feel free to start with some of the simpler stuff. So, thank you.
Oh, one of the things I forgot, the cover picture. The cover is very important. It kind of sets the tone of the story. And to change the cover, you simply click on it. And the cover is an image. Click image, and it takes you to your pictures drive, where you can put whatever picture you want. We have a picture of sunflowers for Kansas. So adding a cover is very easy. Once you add your cover, if you click down here, you can change the title of your story. So we'll put.
And Pam, where does the photo credit go for that cover photo?
Again, down at the bottom.
Okay.
So I would put all my photo credits down here. You can even make a photo credit section. Let's move the simple text down. And we'll call it credits. Section titles automatically capitalize the first letter of each word. And you can just have a long list here, or paragraph of your credits, sources, things like that. You might want to identify, you know, which photo it was.
Right, so it's not linked to, if I click on the photo, the cover photo, it's not going to either drop me down to the sources section or take me to that Flickr page.
No. That's another feature that people have asked for is can you make a hot link in a photo, right? So say you click on a photo and it will take you somewhere off on the web. We don't have that yet either, but it's coming. A lot of stuff coming. But right now you can do quite a bit with what we have so far. If you want to move this section, we have our title. If you go to cover and edit the cover, editing the cover gives you a special user interface. You can hide the cover text. See, now we have no story. There's no text. We can move it to the middle, and we can display shadow behind the text. Oh, what did I do? Oh, see, I had cover text checked. So now we have our title in the middle, and whereas when it said display shadow, it's kind of hard to see here. You can see there's a dark band behind the words, which this photo doesn't really do justice, but in some photos it's very important. So you can play with it and see how it looks for you. That's the cover.
Related to the idea of adding a shadow or a banner and looking at the different sections and adding a bit of either design to them or color, are there any ways that within each story section you have options of how to change around display? Probably some people on the call are people who've seen Livestories, have seen some that look like they have kind of a design feel to them. What are the options for coalitions as they start to do this work in terms of design?
Okay, well, one of the things I didn't touch on is, let's look at this one about the coalition. That would be a good one to change to. So if we select this and go to the crayon, one of the options is a palette. Remember, this is how to move it, this is how to delete it, this is how to change the color. If you select that, you get a little GUI. This is the background, BG, and this is the text. So we can change the color of the background, and you get, when you do that, oh, my screen is in windowed mode, so I don't get the full thing, but let's pick on this color. Oh, okay, I'll expand it. It's not behaving on the screencast, but when you click on this, you get a little OK thing, a little OK button. Will it allow me to move it? Won't allow me to move it. It's just like changing the colors on the charts. You click OK, and it will make, for the story section, the color whatever section we pick. So oh, look, it changed it. All right, so I've changed it to this fabulous orangey pink color.
And there was a question whether several team members can work in the same story at the same time.
I don't know. I imagine it could, but I'm not sure why you'd want to, because
or
you
if
wouldn't.
inadvertently, if one person's editing it and someone else happens to do separately, what happens in terms of version control and
what it would probably do is make multiple copies of the same story. But that's that question's never come up. Let me ask Matt.
There's also the question, is the data for each coalition already in the Livestories accounts?
Yes.
Which I believe is a yes, yeah. Within their dashboards?
Yep. So I've gone through, so anyway, you can see we've changed the background. And if you change text, you can change the text color too. So that's how you change that. If we go back to here we go. Back to data sets. For the metadata, on about half the accounts I've added the metadata in, and I haven't for the other half, and I'll go back and do that this afternoon. I copy and paste it from a worksheet. But on about half the accounts, the data is in all the accounts, but on half of them the metadata hasn't been added, and I'll go finish that. So anyway, yeah, all these data are available for you to start using right away. So.
And maybe on the design question, it might be useful for those on the call to know that some of the Livestories you may see have had some work on design elements. And as part of the coalition work with Livestories, Livestories, if I'm not correct, I think Andy's not on the call anymore, but the there'll be two.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, hi, Andy. So can you maybe
Hey.
talk about the templates that we will be creating with input from the coalitions as to what they want, and those will have a little bit of a different look and some design elements?
Sure. Yeah, be happy to. Yeah, I had to. I lost the call for a minute on my cell phone. But to briefly describe that, so in addition to providing you with access to the data, we also are going to be building out some templates, two of them. The first one is sort of going to be a report card where we're hoping to put something together that's going to look quite nice, have the data that matters to you, and be customized for your region or county. And as we do that, you can then customize that. So this will be something that will be put into your account in the coming weeks, and you can take that, that template and add to it. So for example, maybe you want to add a story about the work that your local coalition is doing. Maybe you want to talk about some of the programs that are happening locally, or maybe you want to add additional data. You'll be able to do that in this template. As we've mentioned, we also have in the CHCF account, for which we'll give you access, we have this sort of practice story. And the idea is that if you copy that practice story and add some content, that'll give us some ideas about what else we might need to add to the eventual template we're going to build and put in your own account. And then we will have an additional template that we're going to build out for you in the coming months, maybe 3 or 4 months down the line, after we have a good grasp of the kinds of things that you guys are in need of. When we sort of know better what kind of data you're wanting to communicate, we can then actually put that in as another template. Does that help?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
A question about, is there a type of story section or a place that you would recommend putting one compelling piece of data, or if someone does want to point out either a statistic or a fact about their county, should they be using, say, the quote story section? Is there a way to do that and have it be formatted with either different size of fonts or have it stand out a little bit more? Or would you recommend creating that in a different platform and then pasting in a JPEG of something that kind of has some a different look to it?
Well, you could use an info card. And if we go down to info card,
yeah, if you could talk about those.
It's basically a picture with some text. And remember, you can change the size of your text. So you can put pretend it's spelled right. And you can make this text very large. Highlight it, I think. Okay. All right. How large can you make it? That large. And then you could make the whole thing, give it a color. And then you can make this text large. And bold it. You can try and make it stand out that way. So that's about it for Livestories itself. One of the things you can do, there's a website that we like to suggest people try called canva.com. And we can go more into this next time, and I will definitely send you all the link. I love canva.com. It's a free graphics program, and maybe some of you have already used it. But when you create a design, you can create your own design and do whatever you like. So there are basic things that they have sized out, like Facebook covers, posters, blog graphics. You can use custom dimensions over here, this little sign, a little button. And when you click custom dimensions, you can put in the width you want. So you could put maybe 600 by 600 pixels. You have a choice between pixels, millimeters, or inches. We'll put pixels, and it will give you a template of that size. So you could put in a background. and some text. And you could put in a little graphic. They have elements and they have illustrations. You could choose a little compass. You can resize them. So it's a cool way to make little graphics that you can then put in your story. Because once you make your little graphic, and pretend this is a fabulous graphic, you can download it.
And so Pam, so if you put in even just a phrase like opioid users are 40 times more likely to abuse heroin.
Exactly.
And you even did that text, and then it doesn't matter the size, the pixel size, but you can then, or it doesn't matter. Do you need a certain pixel size in order for it to be used in Livestories? So it's opioid users are 40 times more likely to abuse heroin, is what it says. This is a CDC stat. I'm not making it up.
Yeah. All right. I'll take the compass out because we don't need it. So undo Canva. All right. Well,
this will probably be our last piece, and then we'll wrap up.
Exactly. So yes, what you can do is you can download it as a JPEG. Download it as a JPEG. And it's downloading it. And then you can pop it right in Livestories. So when we go back to the story, you can then insert that graphic, which you saved as a JPEG, as a picture. So you can make a new banner, and you can insert your image from Canva right there in this image. Now, I think we use 600 by 600. The width of this is 1500, and the width of this is about 500. So pixels. And if you go to our FAQ section, it will tell you the small, medium, large, and cover size pixel dimension. We'll go back to help. Where's the help button? Oh. Where did the help button go? The little help button up here takes you to an FAQ that will tell you about, it's the windowed mode again, it's coming back to get me. It will tell you the pixel sizes for the story sections that we use. Not story sections, but for embeds that you want to put in the story sections. So for the small picture, medium picture, cover picture, and then you can use Canva to make a graphic exactly the size you want with whatever text you want. The other thing you can do in Canva is upload your own photos. So, where is it? Let's go down. Oh, uploads. You can upload your own photo from Canva. So if you had a background photo you wanted to use or a background graphic, you could put it in here and then put text on top of that. It's really infinite, and it's free, which is the best part about it. And they have tutorials, so when you first sign in, there's all kinds of tutorials you can watch to figure out how to use it. I only watched one, and I can do whatever I want. It's a great little tool. So you can make some really cool graphics to make your stories look almost professional using Canva. So.
Great. Thank you so much, Pam.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
No, I think, and people probably do have questions and comments, and as they dive into the platform themselves, definitely Pam and Andy will be available, and there's also technical assistance time built into our work with Livestories, so we encourage you to reach out. Pardon me. Pam can be reached. Pam and Andy's emails are here. And in addition, in 2 weeks, on May 25th, I will be running with a colleague who's versed in Livestories, Laura Saponara, our second edition of the Livestories, Working with Livestories webinar, where we'll help you with storytelling around your data. So as you get familiar with your dashboard and how to build charts and maps, what sort of story can you tell and to what target audience? So we'll help you think about what story elements you'll want, where you can access the kind of resources that will allow you to build a compelling story that you can then promote and have it reach the right audiences. So that is in 2 weeks on May 25th, 12 to 1:30. Encourage you to sign up. And the next webinar will be in June 8th, also 12 to 1:30, buprenorphine for pain, a safer alternative to high-dose or long-term opioid use, with Dr. Howard Kornfeld. I'm so sorry. And then a reminder about the Opioid Safety Coalition's Network Fall Convenings, September 22nd in Oakland with live video remote sites, November 1st, Southern California, TBD on that site, with keynotes Dr. Andrew Kalani, Dr. Corey Waller, and Dr. Andrea Rubenstein, and others to be determined. So thank you very much for joining the webinar, and we hope to hear from you soon.